Hi, my name is Diane Martinez, and I decided to do my presentation on reggaeton and its influence on social and political issues and perspectives in Latin America, especially in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Guatemala. In this presentation, I will talk about three artists, musicians, who have done a great job of using reggaeton to influence people, citizens of these three countries, and promote protest and a change. With the presentation, I hope to not only talk about reggaeton, but and talk about its history and its theme and its lyrics and whatnot. But I hope you take something away from this. I hope you take away that music is not just for entertainment or for pleasure, but it's poetry. It means something. There's always meaning behind the words, behind the lyrics. First, let's start off with the history of reggaeton. Reggaeton is a mix between Latin America rhythm and North American hip hop. In the 1960s and 70s, Jamaican field workers would make rhymes during their long hours of work, and many of these workers only made about $1 a day. In these rhymes, they talked about their struggle of living and how to pay for their homes and families with these unfair wages. They talked about the unjustness and unfairness that was treated towards them and job quality. By using their rhymes and their beats, out came reggaeton. This phenomenon began to spread all throughout all parts of Latin America and flourished greatly in the countries such as Puerto Rico and Panama. Today, not much of reggaeton has changed, only the impact it has and the range of influence it has. Today, reggaeton continues to contain lyrical poetry and songs of struggle and protest and injustice, just like its roots in Jamaica. Many Latin American countries are poverty-stricken and are under weak and corrupt governments. Some are even under dictatorships, like Cuba, and for most part of Guatemala's history. Some key countries, like I said before, are Puerto Rico and Cuba. Both countries are filled with poverty, crime, racism, prostitution, police brutality, social injustice. Many people have to grow up and live with this day by day in these type of environments and are affected greatly in a negative way. Many kids grow up through these horrible experiences of crime and prostitution on the streets. It's very unjust and unfortunate to see. This constant struggle gave rise to many artists who put their life experiences into a set of lyrics known as a rap and mixed it with the catchy beat of reggaeton. Just like those Jamaican field workers, they used their struggle and their rhythm to create a new song, to create a new way to express themselves, a new way to fight against the system. This is known as reggaeton. Some of the artists, for example, that came about are Calle 13 from Cuba, Contra from Guatemala, and Aldo Rodriguez from Cuba. Calle 13 was from Puerto Rico. All these three artists grew up in a poverty-stricken Latin America country, and most have led civil protests in their communities. Calle 13 is a band of two singers. They're known as Residente y Visitante. They got their names because Residente grew up in a gated community, where he was like middle class Cuban, and his stepbrother, Visitante, was the poorest of the poor, and he would, when he came to visit his family, his brother, he would he would have to go to the security guard in the gay community, and the security guard would ask him, "Are you visitante or residente? Are you visiting or do you live here?" And that's how they got the name. And also, Calle Trece is the name of the street where they grew up on, Street 13. Anyways, both grew up in Puerto Rico, and no matter what socioeconomic class, they both still saw the struggle. They still saw the crime, the racism, the social injustice, the corrupt government, and they grew up in this environment and decided they wanted to make a change. The first song that made him famous is known as Querido FBI, which translates into the well-liked FBI. This came about from a story that they saw in the news where a man was killed by Cuban police, and that infuriated both artists, and they started making a song. And here, I'll play a clip for you. At this point, I'll play a 40-second clip of the Querido FBI. Okay, I'm back. Now, as for the clip, as you saw in the clip, you see from the lyrics and from the images of how poverty-stricken Cuba is. Also, the lyrics say of how the FBI is, here to protect you, but, they might overuse their power. And that's known as police brutality. In Calle Trece, someone has continued even numerous more songs that talk about Cuban rights and Cuban injustice for its people. The same thing goes for Contra. Contra is an 18-year-old Guatemalan rapper. He was born and raised in Guatemala in the poverty-stricken, same as Puerto Rico. I'm sorry. Crime, racism, you name it, anything. His first hit was known as Noche de Dia. De Noche y de Dia. And basically that song is about how the injustice is there day and night, and how the people will fight it day and night. The song is mostly about government corruption. And here, I'll let you have a listen. And here's another 40-second clip of the Noche de Dia. Now, after you saw that clip, you can totally feel like the hatred and the emotion in his voice, of his rap, of his reggaeton, and how it could quickly spark up a movement. And that's what he did with his music, and that's what he continues to do to this day. Just like Calle Trece en Contra, we have Aldo Rodriguez from Cuba, and he is an underground rapper. He has to be an underground rapper because in Cuba they have banned the genre of reggaeton. They claim that it causes civil distress, civil disobedience, and that it goes against the government. And from that we can tell that Cuba is under a dictatorship. Aldo Rodriguez, although threatened his life, continues to produce music underground and continues to protest. Here is one of his music clips. Another 40-second music clip. Aldo Rodriguez, just like Calle Trece en Contra, are all artists who live through these Latin American countries where it's filled with poverty, crime, racism, prostitution, police brutality, and social injustice. Both have been through it all and have seen it all. And the way they express themselves, not through violence or through, picket signs, but through music. They express, to them, music is just not for entertainment. To them, it is a soul. It is reggaeton. It is what you fight for, what you believe in. And I hope that's what you get from music. You get what you believe in. Thank you.